I'm Miss Bar, the biology teacher at Point Loma High School.
How many credit cards do you have?
I have 3 credit cards.
What's your highest interest rate?
12%.
How old were you when you first got a credit card?
How old was I? I came to this country late, so I got my first credit card when I was about 27.
What was the first thing you bought with it?
Maybe stuff for my daughter. Baby things.
And do you have any advice for an 18-year-old thinking about getting a credit card?
Avoid it as long as possible unless you can pay off the money each month. So only spend what you can pay off. Because then the interest.
Who are you?
Oh, you're taking video?
Yeah.
I thought you were taking a picture. I'm sitting there posing. I am Mr. Benz.
How many credit cards do you have?
Including debit cards or just straight credit cards?
Credit cards.
2.
What's your highest interest rate?
11.5.
How old were you when you first got a credit card?
Just getting out of college, 21.
What was the thing you first bought with it?
Concert tickets.
Do you have any advice for 18-year-olds thinking about getting a credit card?
Don't. It's too young.
Credit cards for 18-year-olds. If you get them, don't abuse them, because I know how easy it is to abuse credit cards. But in order to get credit, to get a good score on you as a young adult, you have to get some kind of credit with credit cards. But limit what you get for credit cards. That's pretty much the only thing I can say about credit cards. Just be careful on when you do decide to get a credit card. Don't go crazy.
Who are you?
I'm Miss Samuelson.
How many credit cards do you have?
Oh, probably 10.
What's your highest interest rate?
To tell you the truth, I don't know, because I only use 2 of them, and I always pay them off at the end of the month, so I don't ever get any interest rates.
How old were you when you first got
A credit card?
a credit card?
Well, back in the day, they didn't give them out like they give them out now, so I probably was 30 or something.
What was the first thing you bought with it?
I have no idea. Probably furniture. I can't remember.
Do you have any advice for an 18-year-old thinking about getting a credit card?
Don't put anything on a credit card unless you can pay it off at the end of the month, or you have a really good plan to pay it off, because you'll never pay it off with those high interest rates. So I would not put anything on a credit card.
Who are you?
Mr. Kevin Gormley.
How many credit cards do you have?
How many credit cards do I have? Oh, let me see here. Keep it on my handy little money clip here. People like it. I've got 1. Just 1. It's all my wife will let me have.
What's your interest rate?
Just kidding. I think it was like 8.5 or something.
How old were you when you first got your credit card?
My very first credit card? I was 19.
What did you buy with it?
My first credit card? Oh my gosh. I don't think I used it for like 6 months. I was afraid to do anything with it. I can't remember.
Do you have any advice for an 18-year-old thinking about getting a credit card?
Don't do it. Unless you're really, really...
How many credit cards do you have?
I have 2.
What's your highest interest rate?
I don't know, because I don't have any balances on them.
How old were you when you first got
The credit card? I was probably 18 or 19.
What was the first thing you bought with it?
Are you serious? I have no idea.
And what advice do you have for an 18-year-old thinking about getting one?
If you get one, it's you can build your credit if you pay it off. But I would only do it if you already have the money in the bank to pay off whatever you buy. So if you have $100 and you want to buy a $5 item, buy the $5 item with a credit card and then pay it off before you get charged interest.
Okay, thank you.
So,
a camera recording.
Who are you?
Hi, I'm Priscilla.
Okay.
Campus Security.
How many credit cards do you have?
About 10.
What's your highest interest rate?
I believe it's something like 6.9 or something.
What was the first thing you bought with your first one?
Wow, that was a long time ago. Shoot. Who knows? Probably bought some furniture or something for my house.
How old were you when you first got?
My first credit card? Probably around 26.
And what would you say to an 18-year-old who's thinking about getting a credit card?
If you don't have a job, don't get it. If you use it for school, make sure you pay your bills. You need credit because you can't buy anything without it. But
how old were you when you first got your credit card?
18.
And what was the first thing you bought with your credit card?
CD changer.
What would you say to an 18-year-old thinking about getting a credit card?
Good move. Use it sparingly and avoid spontaneous purchases. Make sure that you think, you know what I mean, think it through thoroughly, you know, and to be able to distinguish between your needs and your wants. And be responsible. If you buy it, make sure you pay, because it will help you out in the long run. Credit is good.
Okay, thanks.
2.
What's your highest interest rate?
Doesn't really matter because I always pay it off, but that's I don't know the exact value, but someplace between 15 and 18%.
How old were you when you first got your first credit card?
Ooh, I suppose after college, so let's say 23.
What was the first thing you bought with it?
Oh, I have no memory whatsoever. No idea.
And what would you say to an 18-year-old thinking about getting a credit card?
Either don't or get it and give it to your parents so you don't have access to it, and then occasionally when you're going to buy something you need and you've got the cash for it, use the credit card, then the next day pay it off so you can start building up your credit history and start making your scores better, so later on when you graduate from college or maybe you're taking out school.
2.
And what's your highest interest rate?
9.99%.
What was the first thing you bought with your first credit card?
I don't remember. Let me think. Yeah, I don't remember. I'm sorry.
How old were you when you first got your credit card?
Like 29.
And what would you say to an 18-year-old thinking about getting a credit card?
I would say that the only way you should get one is that if you need to know exactly what 30% of your limit is. Okay, so if you have a $500 credit limit, 30% of that's $150. You never go over 30%, ever, all right? And then you never spend more than you can pay back that month. Then you don't have to pay interest.
Mr. Torres, math teacher.
How many credit cards do you have?
3.
You have 3? What's your highest interest rate?
Right now, it's, I think, 9.5, 9.6. It just went down.
Okay. How old were you when you first got your first credit card?
Right out of college, so probably 22 or 23.
And do you have any advice for 18-year-olds who just got a credit card?
Do not get it. Don't get one. If you have one, cut it up. You should be using cash only. And if you do use it, make sure you have cash before you actually use it. Because if you ruin your credit now, your life gets very, very difficult later.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so how many credit cards do you have?
Are you going to ask me who I am first?
Oh, who are you?
I'm Mrs. Cooper. I'm the library technician.
How many credit cards do you have?
I have 1 credit card.
And what is your interest rate?
Interest rate is 12.5, I think.
And do you have any advice for people with credit cards?
Don't spend the whole limit. Make sure that if you can't pay for it with cash, you really don't need it. That's good, sound advice.
Okay, thank you.